welcome back to Brown Sugar Confessions here on Power 1017 and on Patreon at Brown Sugar Confessions and all our social media handles. We are back. This time it is the Fantastic Four. I am Miss T coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. Pleased to meet you all again and again and again here on Beyonce's internet. And right up next, we have Miss KD. Hey, Miss KD, how are you doing?
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hump day.
Hump day.
Hope everyone is doing fabulous. It's been a wonderful week for me. So, I'm ready to get this started. I got some new gifts in the mail. We might talk about that a little bit later, but I'm ready to rock and roll. How about you ladies?
And that gift actually looked pretty wonderful. And if you're wondering what that gift is, you guys to get on our Patreon to find out. And Miss Jenny C also got a gift, which will be on Patreon, so you can see what that's all about. But Miss Jenny C, how you doing today?
Good. I am finally home in Salt Lake City.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I celebrated my birthday. I'm now officially 53. I wore a t-shirt for it. Look.
Hey, let's see that t-shirt. Let's see it.
Only time you're going to know what year I was born is.
Hey,
Yes.
53 years of awesomeness.
1968.
I am here for it. I am here for it.
Make sure you tune into a Patreon, you guys, because my little surprise, it took me a while to figure out how to turn it off.
I want to say, is it off officially now?
I was struggling. I just got it. There's two different controls. I didn't realize.
And we have Miss Tracy. Hello. Welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
Tell us about it.
How are you guys doing? Look, the humidity up here, as you can see, is killing it up here. It is cold but muggy.
So we're working our way through sugar babies, and I don't know about you all, but there was an article that recently came out about Google banning sugar baby apps. So apparently there were apps where you could hook up with like sugar mamas, sugar daddies, you know, like we were talking about in our last episode. And now Google's like, we ain't doing all that. But I'm like, does this also carry over to the Apple Store? KD, do you know?
I have not found out, but I will report back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, give us a report back. Miss Jenny, have you heard about this? How you feel about them banning sugar baby apps?
I think that even as a mom who's usually really conservative, I think that's terrible that they're taking the right to earn money away. And it usually affects people of color before it affects other non-people of color.
Right.
I know that the bottom line is that there's something going on that we need to investigate more.
And my thing, honestly, with that, because if you think about all these other apps, like there was, Mary Jane or something, where it was people hooking up who wanted to just have like affairs. Y'all ain't banned that, or did they? I don't know.
I know that there was AFF. There was Ashley Madison was a huge one.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and there are a couple of other ones. I don't know if they have banned those, but I'm sure they're going to be slow moving to ban those. It's very slow moving.
But I'm like, why are you trying to keep people from being great? If the billionaire Jeff Bezos that we don't know about wants to find somebody to spoil, why are you hating Google, Jeff Bezos? Is that just Bezos or just somebody else?
I don't know. No, I think it's somebody else. I think Google is not Amazon, is it?
Google is not Amazon. No, they're very different. They're not owned by the same people. No.
No.
Okay, that's somebody else. So whoever owns Amazon, quit being a hater. Anyways, but with that being said, because there's a lot of terms with women who are trying to quote unquote better themselves, but would you consider a woman who is trying to better themselves a gold digger?
No,
absolutely
not. You wouldn't say a woman trying to better herself is who's going to college. You wouldn't call her a gold digger.
Very true.
You wouldn't call somebody that's trying to climb the corporate ladder and better themselves, right? A gold digger.
Absolutely.
Would we call
it ambition?
You would call it ambition, or you would, as some women like to say, a goal digger.
Yeah,
because they have goals and they're digging into them.
So then what's the difference between a sugar baby and a gold digger and a gold digger?
Good question.
I don't. Okay, so for me as a sugar baby, there are some differences. For me, um, okay, because there can be, like with anything, there can be, and when I use these words, I use them very loosely. Listen to what I'm saying.
We're listening.
There can be what some people call a gold digger, where it's strictly just about money, but that's not a bad thing, because let's make this transactional, right? Most men, let's listen to it. When we listen to rap songs and any kind of songs, a lot of songs say, oh, I don't mess with no gold digger, blah blah blah, but I got a Porsche, baby, don't you want to get in it? Like, what are you telling me?
Yes, lying. They're just lying. That's what they're doing.
Like, if you don't want that, then don't want that, but don't want that and then want that, because
Either
you're
you
telling
want
me
it or
two
you
different
don't.
things. Yeah, either you want it or you don't. Don't say like, oh, okay, we're going to use Dr. Dre's divorce as a topic, right?
Mhm.
There are so many men out here talking about right now in these streets, oh, I could never, that's why I don't want to get married. Baby, Dr. Dre has $1 billion. That was never going to be your issue.
This is very
Please,
true.
let's keep
Hey,
it realistic. Let's keep it realistic. Now, if you've had a partner and that woman has supported you through thick and thin and been there on your bad days, on your sick days, and I mean, I don't know what Dr. Dre was going through, like whatever. We can assume, because we know he came from Death Row Records, Easy E, all of that stuff. So we know that if your woman has been with you through that and has been with through your got your beats, now you're absolutely right. And if he's a billionaire, that 300,000 a month is what, maybe 3 million a year. That's a drop in the bucket.
I
And
did the
want that
math.
drop
I
in
did the
bucket.
math. It's 6%. She is getting 6% of his earnings, or not earnings,
What?
but of his money. And the reality is it's theirs, because
Yeah,
they
it's
were
theirs.
married,
What?
right? So it's not like it's his, it's
His.
theirs. And to top it off, she's an attorney. She's an attorney. So I wonder who helped him review all of the contracts that he was getting when he was getting beats. This is a man who is from the hood. This is a man that does not have the highest level of education. So he's not an attorney. He probably would have had managers managing that stuff. But then when you get a wife that actually cares about you, in addition to just being a business partner, now you have someone that's interest is kind of double folded. I put money on it that she was very involved with a lot of the decision makings, with a lot of the processes that went through to help him become a billionaire, or they like, everyone likes to talk about how marriages are partnerships until it's time for a divorce, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, that's his money. No, that they were a organization.
Mhm.
And the organization split, so the money has to split. It just is what it is. And quite honestly, she didn't get the better end of the deal. And from what I understand, he was abusive. So she should have gotten a lot more than she did. But it's very fascinating that so many men, they get so upset and they don't even do basic numbers, basic math. It's not a lot of money in comparison to what they were getting together. So yeah,
I tell you what, that's a
Exactly.
significant amount of money for what I get right about now. I'll take that 6%.
Right? So the term gold digger, if we're going to get into it,
Yeah, what's that? Where does that
the
come
term
from?
gold digger actually comes from men. Remember when women could not go really out on dates and men had to make the move, and a woman was holding her virginity was in high play, like
Yeah.
it was
Right.
worth money. So these men and women would go out, and the women would be with the man intimately, and then the men would withdraw everything, right? Withdraw support, would not marry these women, none of it. So women were now taking men to court because, look, you said we were getting married. You have gone away from that. You've left me away, and now I'm no longer what one thing you wanted from me, you got, and now I'm not marriage material for the next person. So now you need to pay me.
Yeah.
That's where the term that's kind of where this starts at, right?
Hmm.
Well, then some women were setting up these fake dates with these men and would literally blackmail them
What?
and be like, look, we had an arrangement. We were seen here, here, and here, and here. Who's to say we did not have a relationship? Right. So when those kinds of things came into play, all of a sudden the news articles were calling these women gold diggers because they were digging for a man's money in his pocket. But really where it started from is that these men and women were having these relationships, and then men were withdrawing the affection after they got what they wanted from the woman. They left the woman high and dry. Well, the women had recourse. If they part of it is that they probably had a lot of money to begin with, like their family had some money to take them to court and to do with all this stuff and shame the guy, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where this all came to play. And as it's gone on in history, people start changing the meaning of it. And now people that do not have a lot of gold are all of a sudden watching out for somebody that does not want their what's not gold. Let's think
Pocket watching.
Yeah. Somebody's watching their pockets for their little copper coins, right?
Right.
And that's not
They don't even have copper coins. They have coins that are copper coated.
Copper coated, like
they're coated with everything else.
Yeah, right. Like
Copper
remember how
plated.
like when they used to they bite like I'm biting it to see if it's real, like old timey miner or something. But that's kind of where it started. And I'm going to say right now, as a sugar baby, I think it's deplorable that they're now taking these apps away. Why? And I really think it's because they see that a lot of women are succeeding and making a lot of money at this, and they do not want to encourage women to use their body. Let's be completely honest about it. They tell women, don't use your body, but use your body. And this is a way for women to use their body, use their brains, use everything that they have at their disposal to get someone to invest in them. And now they're like, no, you can't do that. That doesn't benefit. But and it doesn't benefit anybody if a woman is really using all of what she has to get someone to invest in her. So it's a way for them to shut them down, just like what they did with Cash App, right?
Right.
Yeah, what happened with Cash App for the people who don't know? Because I know we had a short conversation about it, but can you explain that?
Sure. So Cash App was an easy way, just like with PayPal, but PayPal is a little bit slower and takes a lot of fees, right? But Cash App, you could get your money in your bank account in a snap.
Yeah.
And a lot of sex workers were using it, and a lot of other businesses. I used it as part of my spiritual business because it was easy for people to pay me and they could just send me a little memo, and it was great and it was fast. PayPal, sometimes you have to have a credit card hooked up to it. And let's be honest, a lot of people didn't have credit cards back in the day. They had the prepaid cards, but that was a little wonky to deal with.
That and nobody wants to link their bank account just in case something.
Yeah, nobody, because PayPal just takes money like it's crazy anyway. So what happened was with Cash App saw that a lot of industry workers were using it, and then they stopped it. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of women, a lot of Black and women of the global majority lost hundreds, if not, and I'm going to just say it, millions of dollars behind them taking their funds. It's the same way with PayPal. They take the money really quickly and leave these women high and dry for services that they've already rendered with no way to get their money back.
Right. In case anybody who is not sure why we're saying people of the global majority, there was a post that happened a couple weeks back on Facebook. It's probably on Facebook and Twitter and some other places. So we are no longer saying people of color. We are saying people of the global majority. And Miss Jenny C, tell us, how do you feel about the term gold digger and sugar baby apps being banned from Google?
I don't have a lot of personal experience in it, but I did take a course called Stripper's Guide to Joy and Stripper's Guide to Boundaries. And there's a lot of education the white public needs to understand about empowerment and how this kind of stuff always affects Black and brown women. They're the bottom line. They're the ones who all their rights are being taken away, you guys. And this is not acceptable. I don't need to know that the bottom line of the people being hurt are the black and brown women, even though they're the global majority outside of the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
They're still they we suffer the most. I'm sorry, but like, as a married woman for 28 years, that's what I do. I just happen to have a ring that went with it. Like, I am a sugar baby with my husband.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh,
There you go.
our kids are 22. I have not worked for 20. Like, okay, I've worked, just not paid a formal salary outside of the house. I work my butt off to make sure that my husband has. I'm his muse. I help him with work. You know, like, he has like food, shopping pre-pandemic. During pandemic, he's got to do shopping because we are all high risk in the house.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then with the anti-Asian hate, they can't take the risk of me because um,
Yeah.
someone won't be leaving the scene of the crime. I'll be leaving, but not necessarily the other person. Anyway, so like, I don't step out of the house to keep everybody safe, and but Mike, he knows that he would not be this far in his business and his work without me. He acknowledges that.
Some places prepare their women, female presenting, whoever, to find a suitable husband. And those men are being prepped to find a suitable wife. So say, for example, if you are the cream of the cream of your group, you are expected to bag that millionaire, billionaire person.
Right.
And they do that everywhere but in the US. So how do you feel about that, Miss Katie?
Let's actually step back a bit, because in my opinion, in my most humblest opinion, I think one of the reasons why they are now targeting sugar baby site, one of the reasons I believe that this has suddenly become such a hot topic and so difficult and becoming to be more difficult for the women, is the fact that so many women of color, or more importantly, Black women, are getting involved with it.
Man.
So
Yep.
with that being the case, they're not only, do they not want us seen, but we certainly shouldn't be making buku dollars from men of all different races on top of it. And unfortunately, it's even stronger for women who look like myself. Now, I say all that to say, we're going to step back to what your question was to me, is how do I feel in terms of gold digging and achieving to find a man that can take care of you as a husband? I think that there's hierarchies, and with people who are a lot of times, especially more fairer, there's an expectation. If you come from a certain background, it's just understood. You will marry a husband that will take care of you. You will marry a husband that will have more means. There'll be hypergamy, and these are acceptable things.
It's almost like a class system, it sounds like.
It absolutely is a class system. And as a Black woman, they do not expect us to date wealthy men. We're not expected to date men that's going to take care of us. And we're certainly not allowed to be hypergamous. And in case you're not familiar, yeah.
Pause. What is
hypergamy? So hypergamy, am I saying that right? Correctly, guys? Yeah, I'm saying it.
Clearly, I don't know, so because I'm asking
hypergamy is the practice of dating a woman dating a man that is of a higher social class.
Okay.
And this is typically how wealth, how families kind of join their wealth and kind of continue to push wealth forward. In the Black community, a lot of times I see, more so than not, women dating people of a lower class or men of a lower class. And it's very rare to find women who are actively, consistently pursuing men who are at least a step higher up in pay ranges, social status, and things like that. So with that being the case, I find that there's a lot of politics and racism involved with marriage, dealing with people of different cultures, and how we navigate that.
Very much so. Miss Tracy, how do you feel about this? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier with you, but can you close us out on this point? why is it okay for women to be gold diggers and not men? And then on top of that, what we talked about where the term gold digger comes from. Essentially, are there gold digging men, and why is it okay for women to be gold diggers everywhere but the US?
Okay, so yes, there are gold digging men. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like there's a ton in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We just don't know that it's what they are.
Let's be honest about it. Who was the singer? Hello?
Adele.
Okay. So her husband wanted what? A couple $100,000 a month.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. And they nixed that. They were like, absolutely not, sir. There are gold digging people. I don't want to assign sex because they're gold digging people. There are people that will murder you for money. That's gold digging.
Yeah, that's true.
That to me is
I'm
the
on my
true
third
definition of gold digging. The thing that bothers me is when people actually are targeting folks in a malicious way, right? They're not
like you get those people that are going after older people because they know they're rich and they're just waiting to either kill them off or waiting for them to die off, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. All of that is gold
things to try to shorten their life. I think that's something that, to me, that's what, when I hear the word gold digging used in a negative way, to me, that's what that means. I'm not thinking about someone who chooses to date a high value man or someone who chooses to date someone of higher wealth. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that that's just kind of part of how we operate in a patriarchal society that we didn't decide to create.
I'm not gonna lie. This is how I live my relationships, and my partner is cool with it. My money is my money and your money is my money.
That's what my mom said to my husband before we got married. She's like, are we clear on this, Michael? What's Jenny's money is Jenny's money. What's your money is Jenny's money. Do I make myself clear? And he said, yes, ma'am. And he said, you may marry her now.
I like your mom. I like your mom a lot.
Every woman is supposed to marry up, and then every man is supposed to settle or something. That's what I heard, but I don't know how true that is.
I don't know if it's settling, because this is the thing. You're marrying a woman, and if you're marrying her and you have a lot of money, you're obviously marrying her because she adds something to your life. So is it settling? She's probably gorgeous.
Very
is
true.
It settling?
Let's hope
absolutely not. I don't know what's up with all these dudes now talking about how, you're a gold digger if you don't want to go to Chili's on the first date. Like, get out of here. I don't eat Chili's ever. Chili's hurts my tummy. I have very sensitive belly. So no,
I feel like
that's
a whole dating mishap, because I feel like guys are just like, and I could be wrong, listeners, if you are a male or a male presenting person and you want to take somebody out on a date, tell us, what is your typical date like? Is it movies and dinner at Chili's or the Cheesecake Factory, or is it something else? Let us know. Anyways, I feel like there's way more to dating than just dinner, but guys don't really know that.
I just have to tell you, like, some of our youngins don't really know. Like, my daughter had this very sweet boy convince her, right, to date him. And he said, I want to take you out. Halloween, pre-pandemic. He was like, I will pay for dinner. He didn't pay for dinner.
Oh, no.
Did not?
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, I'm not really interested in boys, but I guess I'll date you. She's so cute when she got dressed up that way. She let me put on makeup, do her hair. She put on a nice outfit, took her out. He completely ignored her and forgot to pay for her dinner. I'm like, don't do that, boys. If you tell her to take her out for dinner, actually pay for the dinner.
Right.
Wow.
And don't feel like you have to expect something. I think that's the thing. Yeah. If a lot of our gentlemen feel that if I'm paying for dinner, then I should get something in return. And it's not about gratification. If you're trying to get to know somebody, then you're going to have to put out for it.
Yeah.
And likewise with women, but our put out is not just put out with the pots.
Exactly.
We put out in different ways, but the thing is there's a give and a take, and like we said in the previous episodes, communication is everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
But with that, right now, we got to go pay some bills. So we are coming back, Power 1017, also on Patreon at Brown Sugar Confessions. Stay with us. We're getting into it with the Olympics because that is the cream of the cream. And there is so much happening in the Olympics right now. We're going to talk about some of them. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone, to Brown Sugar Confessions here on Power 1017. Brown Sugar Confessions on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, all your social media handles. It's me, Miss T, followed up with Miss KD, Miss Jenny C, and Miss Tracy. Miss Dr. Val, actually, Dr. Val, let me tell her name correctly. Dr. Val is somewhere in the depths of France right now in a convention about the lifestyle, and she will be giving us interviews and snippets of her trips as she is progressing through Europe, doing her thing. So as of right now, it is just your Fantastic Four. Thank you for joining us again. We are back from paying bills, and we were talking about earlier gold diggers. What is a gold digger versus what is a goal? No D digger. And we were also talking about people who in other countries where gold digger is okay, but not so much in the US. And we were having a side conversation off the air while we were paying bills. We were talking about high value men and women. And I think there was also a question about that. Jenny C, did you see what that question was?
Yeah. So we have a question from Jill. She wants to ask exactly what is a high value man? Why are there no high value women? And she just would like some clarification on that.
And I feel like Miss KD, we had like a also side conversation that didn't have to do with the show that talked about this. And who was the guy that was talking about?
Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that one of the reasons why all of a sudden we're hearing a lot more discussion about this term, high value man, is because he has this show that's kind of gone viral. He has a podcast on YouTube. And very recently, he went famous because of a really terrible way he treated one of his guests. But all of a sudden, now everyone is interested in this idea of high value men. So high value men, by definition, at Kevin Samuels, who he says he is a image consultant.
I have a question.
The thing is, what is a high value woman? Go ahead, Miss Tracy.
Is that why they call him Kitten Hills?
That is exactly why.
Wait, what? Kitten Hills? What is Kitten Hills about?
Heels.
So he's known for wearing shoes with kind of very what people would consider to be ladylike heels on them, probably like a 3-inch heel in men's shoes. And so some people, they call it kitten heels.
Is that what they call a kitten heel? So what do they call a 6-inch? A cat heel?
Stiletto.
Ha! Yeah.
Oh, it's just a full stiletto?
All right. So like I said, he has a podcast. Women call in and they ask him questions about themselves and how they can get a high value man. So the show, he's come up with this definition where a man needs to have made more than 6 figures for at least 5 years straight. He needs to have access to a network of other men that are considered to be high value. So he can't just be someone who's just making a lot of money by himself, but he also needs to have access to a network and resources.
So he can't be a basement studio rapper.
No, he can't be a basement studio rapper.
Oh, that's most of Atlanta. God. Okay, I'm sorry.
I know most of your basement studio rappers are consistently making 100 plus a year anyway, 100,000 plus a year.
And some of them think they are, but you know, it is what it is.
And typically people, they are saying their idea, or the idea that he shares, is that high value men are going to have access to the top tier women or your high value women. And no, these aren't women who are career women or women who are wealthy, but women who are attractive.
Are these
So-
women of the global majority?
These are, well, probably not, let's be
Okay.
honest, but there are exceptions where they'll rate women who are of the global majority and add them to the mix of high value women. Yeah, it's disgusting. It is disgusting.
Oh, that sounds.
You should see Tracy's face. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the look of disgust, and I kind of share that. I'm just like, but that feels like classism all over again. And we
It
talked about
is.
classism in the last set.
It very much is. And these are people who very much ascribe to it. So the part that makes this even more atrocious is that there's a ton of women who will call into this show, and basically we talked about humiliation. Like, I swear everyone has a humiliation kink that calls into this show, because they'll call in and the first thing he'll ask them is, what's your age? How many children do you have? And what is your waist size, or what is your dress size?
First of all,
None of your business.
exactly.
Ugh.
None of your god dang business.
Then if she sounds like she's not super skinny, like he'll play a sound that sounds like a cow or moo, or
wow.
he'll do like do 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 do. So it can be very humiliating. But for some reason, because these women are really interested in getting a high value man, or a man that has wealth and means, they're willing to subject themselves to humiliation to be able to get advice from a man that claims to be high value, on how to attract wealthier, high value men.
And I feel like this is where sugar mamas are needed. Those that can guide little baby sugar babies, because if we're trying to get it, and this is my perspective, if you're trying to get a person of high value, go through a person who has gone through that stage.
Yeah.
Google, you are ruining this.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
ruining the people who are trying to be better sugar babies by keeping us from connecting, but whatever.
Okay, so I have a quick question. This kind of feels like that. Has anybody ever heard of the wife school?
Oh God.
I have
no.
not.
I
Does this
have.
feel- there's this school that this woman owned. I can't remember her name right now.
Elro,
Laro?
and I
Monroe?
can't pronounce the last name. It's like Kulturiani or
It's
something.
basically where women submit to their men. Like, if their man cheats, it's your fault. You're too big, you're too ugly, you're not classy enough. And like, when your man comes home, your children do not matter. He matters. Like, you bow, like they have a ceremony where they like wash the man's feet or kiss the man's feet or something like that, and she's on her knees. And I'm like, I think this is a thing where you think like, but yeah, you're supposed to submit. And as you get older, you realize that submitting is not what these people think it is.
First of all, we need to talk about the word submit, but before we do that, Miss Jenny, you had the look of I've been there, done that, and bought the t-shirts. Can you please give us your insight?
I'm speechless, honestly. I mean, okay. There's double standards, even in Asian cultures. From my personal experience, I can't speak for everyone else, so I'm going to tell you, even now, my mom will say things to me like, you want to make sure you don't gain too much weight in case your husband finds a younger version. And my thing is, I grew up in the States. He cannot do better than me. Like, he's so lucky to have me. Sorry, guys. Like, seriously, like, we spoke earlier about this, and it sounds very facetious, but it's not, because our relationship is so much give and take for both of us. Yeah. When he got cancer, I did not go to work because I was working as an occupational therapist, getting money back then before children. And I would keep him company during his chemo. And my job, my boss back then said to me, "Oh, he doesn't need you. He's just going to, get his chemotherapy and he's going to lie there." And I was like, you can give away my job. You don't have to pay me. I will not be in work while he's in chemotherapy, because I will make sure, because not that nurses aren't wonderful, but they're overworked, underpaid, understaffed. And I was like, I will be by him doing what he needs to be done. Does that make sense?
It
But at the
does.
same time, right? But at the same time, when I go on company functions in the past, not this current company, but the past, it always felt like the owners were switching up wives when their wives got older and the kid, you know what I mean? And then they would find ways to not pay the wives their due. They'd
Wow.
find ways
Wow.
to make the company look like it was less money and all this crazy stuff, just so they didn't have to pay the wife what she was owed for all the years she stuck by him.
Wow.
Wow.
I will put roots on there. But let's get back to Kitten Hills. So what else?
Kitten Hills, because I'm like, were we really wearing these out? I wear them out to go dancing because, like I said, I'm trying not to die in these ATL streets. People be wearing these 6 inches, and then next thing you know, they then lost their ankles and their necks. I'm not trying to do that. I got stuff to do in the morning.
So do you think do you really think that this is real, or do you think this is, like what was that one guy? Shock jocks? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
is he doing this for that, or is this really what this human being thinks?
I think he's a shock jock, and here's why. Again, like I said, I kind of went down a rabbit hole on this, and I was able to listen to some of his older broadcasts from like 5-6 years ago when he first started.
Mm-hmm.
And most of his podcasts were kind of just telling men about how to make themselves better. Like he literally went through a whole thing where he like showed them how to shave. Like a whole video.
So he was actually wholesome at some point.
He started off wholesome, but guess what? One time, like a lot of times he would attack the guys, and the same thing that he now does to women, he did to guys. But guess what? That didn't get him any views.
Of course.
So then one time, instead of a guy calling the show, a woman called the show, and he laid into her, and all of a sudden, poof, he ends up becoming viral.
So let me get this straight. A black man is making his coin off of tearing down black women.
You got it.
Again, let's move on to the topic of the next couple of days, the Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics. There are so many people. Well, there are people at the Olympics, but there are not that as many people at the Olympics because it is the year of our plague, 2021, unfortunately. So not everybody could be in Tokyo that wanted to be in Tokyo. And like right now, I'm kind of like side glancing from my camera, and track and field has started. So track and field is about to be lit. If you haven't been following it, gymnastics has been kind of lit. And let's talk about the highlight of the Olympics so far in week 1, which is the GOAT, aka Simone Biles, and aka Naomi. Oh my Lord, I can't remember her last name, but Miss Naomi, who is doing tennis, and how they are standing up for themselves to make sure that they are okay despite the Olympics happening. Because let's be real, and I actually made this post a little while back. Take care of yourself because the world will not.
Absolutely.
And that is exactly what's happening with Simone Biles and Naomi. I think her name is Naomi Osaka.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, let me give me a couple of minutes and I can double check that.
I just checked it for you. It is Osaka.
It is Naomi Osaka? Okay. But yeah, so how these two young ladies who are of the global majority, the global majority, and how essentially the Western world, I don't know about the Eastern world, but definitely the Western world is kind of against them because they chose to put themselves first rather than their countries. And especially when it comes to Simone Biles, how she decided, you know what, I'm not in the best mind right now. Let me not do this. My team is capable of getting us to a medal. Let them go, because if I go and I injure myself, that's it. And there are a ton of people who have something to say about it. So as of us on Brown Sugar Confessions who have something to say about it, Miss KD, what do you have to say about it?
So I believe that everyone should be able to make sure that they take care of themselves. And while I think that it's she made a commitment, it is what it is. But if she is going to put herself in danger to be able to move forward, you have to save yourself. You have to make sure that you can compete next year. She's got her goals.
Mm-hmm.
I completely co-sign the fact that she did what she needed to do, and it may have not only been best for her, but it might have been best for the team too.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's the thing is like you shouldn't have to carry your own team. And it's funny because I was watching, because I'm a TikTok and Facebook fiend. Somebody had posted Simone Biles is taking a mental break because she's had to carry the US team for the past 10 years. And it's like, what? Don't disrespect the rest of these ladies like that. They worked just as hard. Miss Jenny, what do you have to say about this?
As two kids that have trained at the Lake Placid Olympic Training Center for their gymnastics, and also that the one in Texas, that training, if you don't know, and I'm sure everyone is educated to know, that training is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of us muggles understand the extent of the abuse, of the negating of self-preservation that you put on hold to train.
Mm-hmm.
And like Simone was doing tricks, they didn't even know how to score.
Right.
Exactly.
When and they were saying they call it the twisties, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have twisties, there's a disconnect and you're losing track of your rotations. And she landed one in practice that she shouldn't have been able to humanly land. So she saved herself in her practice, and she knew, oh my God, that I'm not safe right now. I cannot go out there. And for people not to respect her, I don't even understand it. It's incomprehensible. My kids were doing crazy tricks for rhythmic gymnastics, and they were being taught by their coaches because their coach was Russian, a Ukrainian, that they needed to ignore what their bodies were telling them and just trust her call.
Yikes.
Yeah. And what I love right now is that they're saying now across the board globally that this stuff is no longer tolerated in their sport. When before it was mundane. There was a gymnast from Russia. She got paralyzed. She landed on her chin in 1980. She was 16. And they told her she was fine, and they made her take her off her cast, and she competed, and she landed, became a quadriplegic, and didn't even live past 46.
Oh no.
This is standard. So for anyone else, no offense, but if you're sitting on your sofa and you've never trained at that level, please educate yourself more. It is crazy. And also, if you don't know about all of the scandal behind the abuse and the training in our own U.S. teams, you got to understand this woman she's got this mind of steel. She's got she's a steel magnolia. And for her to say, hey, you know what, I'm in danger of being broken, we've got to respect that. We really have to trust that.
And I think also because she took the chance to be like, hey, I'm not okay. That shows to her team. It's not the fact that she's being vulnerable. It's the fact that she's looking out for herself. Because if she was like, I can get through this, y'all can get through this. If she says that, she is also endangering her team. Yeah. And I don't think that's something that a lot of people understand. And then think about it. She has gone through scandal after scandal after scandal, being in foster care, being in a training facility with a doctor, an Olympic doctor who was a little more touchy-feely than he should have been, to going to having the pressure of being, you're so good, we don't want to charge you because how will everybody else feel because they're not as good as you?
Yeah, I was a USAG coach, you guys, and literally it's understood because I was training, right? And I was taught, oh, this girl will never score above this score. And this score, even if she's having a bad day, we always score her higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it was very correlated to their preferred size.
Mm-hmm. Which also a thing is about image. Simone Biles is breaking images. She is breaking images, and the people of the old tradition are not having it at all. Miss Tracy, how do you feel about this?
Okay, I'm gonna say this in the sweetest way possible.
Sweetest way.
I think anybody that can't do a cartwheel should really just shut their mouth.
Hey.
Talking about what any person should be doing with and for themselves for their own mental health. Just because you played high school basketball, you did not train like a champion, you would not make it to the Olympic team.
Hey.
Know your lane. Just because you started keto 14 times and nobody's called you out on that.
Not 14 times.
Stay
Not
in
14
your lane.
times.
Stay in your lane. These amazing super athletes have said they've had enough, and you have to respect that. I used to be a gymnast, and I can tell you right now, I had a neck injury when I was 15 years old, and I'm 42 now, and I still suffer from it because my coach said, don't listen to your body, do what I said. These people have said they are not going to score her the same way that they are going to score everyone else.
Mhm.
Why would you subject her to that?
Mhm.
But you're expecting a Black woman to be your
Again.
mule.
Again.
In 2021, we no longer do that.
Exactly.
Let me tell you in the sweetest way. Baby, honey,
Honey.
we don't do that no more.
No.
Whatever gymnast who had essentially broken her leg, and Bella Lugosi or the coach, whoever that was like, you can do it one more time, and she did it, and she stuck it. However, she was like,
She retired after that.
yeah, she had to retire because she was literally broken. And when this whole thing came out, she put out a post and was like, I understand why she did what she did, and I'm not mad at her because she did what she did. She can get up and compete another day. The rest of us cannot because we are literally broken. We are broken in mind, we are broken in body, we are broken in spirit. Because we decided to trust our coaches, and our coaches were like, I don't care, get this done. And Simone was like, nay, nay. Nay, nay. In the great words of our Saint Bailey Sarian, she was like, nay, nay, we are going to do this my way because I need to make sure that I can lead.
Yeah.
And that is what she's doing. She is showing her team that she can lead even if she's not in the front. She is so good that the national and international committees are like, we can't score you to like everybody else. Imagine what this would have been like had she had been in her right mind.
Yeah.
You think they really gonna let a Black woman, a Black female American walk in and take all the gold?
No.
I don't think so.
No, they would have. I don't trust me. As I was training to be one of those judges, they talk behind the scenes about how high a score a person can get.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's understood. It's understood, you guys. I mean, there was one girl who did a beautiful, perfect routine at nationals. They scored her below par because they thought she was overweight.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Told not to score her higher. I was like, she did perfect. No.
No.
You never scored higher than this, you won't score her that. I'm like,
So then it's mostly about image. It's not
Yeah.
not about talent. It's
Well, I
about
think-
image. Like somebody also banned shorts for volleyball because like what is it? Switzerland or one of them countries up north.
Yeah.
We're like, we want to do boy shorts, we don't want to do bikini bottoms, and they got fined.
Yes.
And it took Pink, American pop artist Pink, to be like, do whatever you want, I got you, I can pay that fine.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So what's going on with these beds? Does anybody know what's going on with these beds that they
If you can go on any Google it, just say Japanese Olympic beds. They really do this because they don't want to promote like sex between the athletes and all that stuff. But what I'm gonna say is, would it not be natural for human beings who are in their top performance and just finished the hardest competition of their lives that they've trained for to want to seek some sort of relief. And then all of a sudden you have all these beautiful hard-bodied people everywhere. What are we talking about here?
All the hard-bodied
I will
people.
find a way. We will
Has
find a
anybody
way.
be following the Olympians on TikTok? They are acting a total fool, and I am here for all of it.
Yes, I'm loving seeing the video. Look, I can only imagine what it is because I work out 1 day a week, and I'm
exactly.
dying.
I got like the one guy who was like, I'm gonna go get some free shoes, and it's like, what kind of free shoes you getting? And he like does a whole little tour. Let's get on the bus. We're gonna get on the bus. Here's the Hall of Flags. We're going to the little shoe store. It's like, let's take a picture of your shoes and measure you. Okay, free shoes for you. Can I be your sugar baby? Can you get me like a size 8.5, 9 wide, sir?
I don't think those cardboard beds are stopping anything. In fact, I find it ridiculous. But that just is how, I don't want to say that's how Japan is. I don't want to say like they're like America where they're very prudish about their sex, right?
Japan.
I don't want to say that, but it's also, I want to say that. So take that how you take that.
Listeners, if you have worked in or are from Japan, please give us your statement about sex life in Japan, because my understanding about Japan is very open and it's also very closed.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you will see a ton of red light districts, a ton of love hotels, because in their living areas, the walls are literally paper thin. So if you're going to do something, you can't make noise because everybody's going to hear you, and then it's going to be a problem. You need to go somewhere else. That's my understanding of it from the couple times that I have been to Japan. But like I said, members, listeners, Patreon people, if you have been to Japan or worked in Japan, please give us your experiences, especially with Japanese sex life. Olympians, if you are listening to our show,
yes, call in.
Tell us what's up with them beds. What up with them beds? What up with them shoes? Who did you hook up with? What country, if you can't say the name?
Initials.
I am very curious. So that is the main reason why they gave them these really uncomfortable looking beds that are breaking down on them, is to stop extracurricular activities from happening.
I mean, you got to get that stress out.
So
I want to go. I need to celebrate.
I mean, these are Olympians. I mean, you could just stand up and, bend over on a table or
in the air, booty in the
air. I mean, like,
with the Olympians, they just
you bed. You're still limber.
Right.
Do all kinds of yoga positions. They don't need a bed.
You don't need a bed. I wouldn't need a bed. There's always the floor.
Are you doing it in the corner? Like, what's the deal? Because I know COVID is very much an issue in Japan right now because most of their population is not vaccinated. So my thing is, are you doing it within your country? Are you doing it within your region? Are you doing it? Or you'd be like, hey, you look cute. What's up? What's up?
What's up?
What's up? Wait, I can't do the smoldery look. Tracy, do the smoldery look for me. Yes. Yes.
I think it's just really absurd to think that humans won't do what humans naturally do, especially when they've released that amount of stress. Why not make it safer for the athletes so they don't go home hurt?
Baby, we ain't nothing but mammals. Let's do it like we do on the Discovery Channel. I'm just
saying.
Hey.
Yeah, I think it's really weird. I'm sure other countries, I don't know I can't remember what they did in Brazil. I know it was wild down there because I remember watching the reports of somebody getting beat up outside of somewhere. Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why not make it, if they're going to do what they're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. Let's make it safe for everybody. Let's make it safe. Let's not pretend like they're just, we're going to abstain. Absolutely not. Because I'm a listen to my voice. I would not do that. I would not abstain. I would take it as a mission.
As a quest.
Look,
This is a side quest.
this is a side quest. Absolutely. Side quest. I'm going to hit everybody. I'm right here where every country in the world is.
Everybody who looks me in the eye is getting hits.
Look, and I don't have to take a plane. I don't have to take a plane trip to visit this. All these people, they're right here lined up. Let's go. Let's go. And no, I don't need your cardboard bed, but I'm gonna break this cardboard bed down and blow up my mattress and put it on that.
Oh, you looking like
Literally have access to every nation in the world. You can go down the line and
like
try out
literally there's
flavors.
like what 217, 19, however many nations there are.
I mean, I'm gonna need a vacation after that, but I'm down for it. Challenge accepted. Okay.
Hashtag side quest.
Side quest.
Side quest.
Side quest.
Put that down when you.
Olympians, if you are listening in, tell us about your side quest. You gotta tell us it was you. Just be like, you know what, this went down, and I need you to know about it.
Side quest.
Yeah.
Hashtag side quest.
Hashtag side quest. If you are listening and you know an Olympian who might be on a side quest, hit us up with that hashtag side quest.
Yes. Oh my God.
But well, we are coming up to the end of our show tonight. So I hope everybody had a great time listening to us here on Power 1017. We talked about a ton of things. Oh, we got one more thing before we get off the show. And this might be something our Olympians are getting into. The TikTok sexy game. Has anybody heard about that?
Yes, I heard about it.
Tell us about it, Miss Tracy.
It's not very sexy.
Oh no. Oh no.
So basically, there is, I believe she is a sexologist. And she is,
but she's not our Dr. Val.
No, she is definitely not Dr. Val.
Dr. Val is all about the
I can't vouch for her practice. I can't vouch for her practice, but her TikTok has been shared, I think, 50 or 60,000 times. So in the little clip, she says, take 4 minutes with your partner. Of course, you need to have their consent, and do whatever you want with your partner. Just 4 minutes and do that and start there. If you're having problems with, being intimate or even getting to the point where you want, that thing. Being intimate, or you just don't feel comfortable, take 4 minutes, of course, with consent from your partner, and you do whatever you want to your partner's body. I think that is a great start, but it is nowhere near the finish.
I mean, it's like that 4 minutes per person, or is that?
Yes, it's 4 minutes for you and then 4 minutes for your partner, where you're just supposed to do whatever you want to do with them.
So
and
literally, I could do like a 4 minute Street Fighter tournament with my partner.
Okay, right. Oh, I thought I was the only one. I was like, 4 minutes. What am I going to do in 4 minutes? Watch 10 TikToks. Let's go.
Right. Exactly. Like 4 minutes. That's it. Like,
From my husband, I'd be like, "Oh, makeup time. Put some mascara on you." I don't know. I'm messing with them.
How do you feel about this 4 minute game, Miss TD?
I don't think 4 minutes is enough to get much of anything done. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Because if I'm going to try something new, something that I can just do for the first time, it's going to take, most likely it's going to be pretty wild, and it's going to take 4 minutes to get him eased into it. So I don't know about that.
Right, exactly. I feel like if you already got to have the consent of your partner, and there's probably prep time for whatever you're trying to do, that's way more than 4 minutes. But I bet those 4 minutes work for our Olympians. You gotta get in there where you can.
Isn't that 4 minutes the collapse time of those cardboard beds?
It might be. Listen, COVID rules are in effect. You in this elevator, I'm in this elevator. Let's do it. Let's do this before we hit the main floor. I'm just saying, I don't know. Honestly, I've never been with an Olympian. Clearly, I just watched them on TV. However, hashtag side quest. If you've been with an Olympian, Patreon listeners, let us know. But outside of that, it has been a great time here on Brown Sugar Confessions. Tune in every Wednesday at 11 p.m. on Power 1017 Thursday at midnight on YouTube. We are here for you, and hopefully, actually, I believe it's next week. Our fearless hero leader, Dr. Val, will be back with us from her shenanigans out in the old country, telling us about all the things she's seen. If you haven't followed her adventures already, please follow our Patreon so you can see what she's been into. Outside of that, Miss KD, Miss Jenny C, Miss Tracy, it has been a wonderful night as it always is. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us on Power 1017 and YouTube, and we will see you next time. Have a great night. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.